Hey everyone, Joe Kopsick. It's December 19th, 2020. In my previous video, you may have noticed I talked about how it was unconstitutional to have a Medicare for all vote or to have a national healthcare system, and I just wanted to elaborate on that for a while. You know, this is something I've been talking about ever since I wrote papers about the constitutionality of Obamacare back in 2011. I really got in there and dug around and figured out what is actually going on. So basically, I mean, there's no way to put it basically. If you look at Article 1, Section 8, Clauses 1 through 18 of the U.S. Constitution, that'll tell you all the things that the federal government is allowed to do by we the people. It's we the people who are allowing the federal government to do these set of things that we specifically grant them the exclusive authority to do. Unless and until we grant them those authorities on those particular policy topics, the states or the people are supposed to solve those problems and address those issues and topics in politics and policy. Not necessarily the state. State doesn't have to. People can do it. The people don't have to implement a state law to solve that problem, but the federal government can get involved. Now, does this fact stop people like Barack Obama, you know, from doing weird parliamentary procedural tricks to push through legislation that's very unpopular, that over half of the nation disapproved of? No, it doesn't stop them. Obama got away with saying, I'm a constitutional scholar, you don't have a right to doubt me, and then he just didn't explain anything. And now guess what, Democrats? You have a president, Joe Biden, who talks about the Constitution all the fucking time. So you better listen to what I have to say, because in a year, you're going to be like, oh, slavery was in the Constitution. Why are you talking about the Constitution so much, Joe Biden? And then you're going to buckle like you always do because you're Democrats, and you're going to realize you can't negotiate with him unless you talk about the Constitution and come up with policies in light of what the Constitution allows the federal government to do and what it, besides that, prohibits them from doing. The federal government cannot implement a national healthcare system without breaking the law. I, as a congressman, if I were one, if I had been sworn in, I would not be allowed to vote for a national healthcare system or any semblance of it, except one that fits within, you know, the guise of like having regulation of the health insurance market. That's not just legislation upon it. That means a specific thing. It means you regulate it. You keep the commerce in health insurance regular across state lines. And there were proposals to do this, but they're on the Republican end and they were never talked about. The whole issue is just being boiled down to, are we going to have a Medicare for all vote or not? And it needs to be way more comprehensive than that, because it's like no one knows what the state lines plan is. Donald Trump supported it and he barely could explain it. Marco Rubio and Ted Cruz do a way better job at explaining it. Ted Cruz is a proponent of it. And oddly, he and AOC would agree that the reason why employed people have so much of a better, chance of staying on their health insurance is because of the health insurance, employer-provided health insurance tax credit in HIPAA. We give tax credits. We lower the overall burden using taxpayer money that you and I earn to entice businesses to offer their employees health insurance. Well, what does that do? It gives employed people an edge in staying insured, because it'd be more expensive to get health insurance without that tax credit, which you can't get when you're unemployed. Well, employed people don't need help getting health insurance. Unemployed people do. So then the solution is, okay, we're going to insure these people. We're going to then force them to have health insurance by taking it out of their tax money. It's like, well, what if they don't have a job? What if they don't have any money? It's like, oh, don't worry about that. We're going to make them go to work. So the Democrats, Barack Obama admitted, he's like, if this were the 90s, if this were the early 90s, he said, he would be considered like a liberal-ish Republican, a center-of-the-road Republican. These Democrats like Obama and Hillary, they're just the same as the Heritage Foundation and Romney and Paul Lenny. Remember, it was Romney Care, and it was Heritage Foundation idea, then it was Hillary picked it up, then it was Paul Lenny, then Romney, and then it was Obamacare. Like this, 2 or 3 provisions stayed about the same, stayed within those proposals like the whole time. So it's like we're basically just debating about the same health insurance law proposal for like this 25 years. And like I said in my previous video, we're wasting trillions of dollars and years of public time on something that might not ever be legally implemented, and we're not being sure to do it in a permanent enough way using a constitutional amendment, which is the only way the federal government could ever do anything that has to do with healthcare outside of just assuring the free flow of interstate commerce in health goods, which it's totally not doing. So it's like they could have given Dennis Kucinich the Kucinich Amendment to allow each state to make sure that everyone's insured. And then they told him, Obama told Kucinich, yeah, we'll put the amendment in there. And then on the last moment, they took it away from him. So, and here's the thing, like offering people health insurance, you know, they're not giving people health insurance. They're just making it so that the health insurance companies, which control our government, and basically control agriculture, they're side by side with agriculture because 90% of the medicine, 90% of the antibiotics are used on livestock, not us, not the human livestock. So I don't know how the health insurance companies are not going to get away with taking this over. The government, like the Obamacare plan was, the idea was like, we're going to stop these companies from prohibiting people from staying on their parents' plans after they turn 26. Well, isn't it a private health insurance company? Doesn't private mean you can do what you want? It's like, I know what you're probably thinking. It's like, well, they're not fully private. They're regulated by the government. They're taxed. They're subsidized. Well, why not take the fucking subsidies away? Why don't you take away this agreement that you're going to continue to enforce their patents? Why don't you take away all the intellectual property protections that they have, and the trade promotions, and the LLC status, and the corporate status that wouldn't exist without public and taxpayer support? All you're arguing over is how much conditional support are the health insurance companies going to have when we force people to buy health insurance policies when they don't have any money. That's all we're arguing over. How we're going to do this horrible thing to poor people who have no fucking way to fight the system, and have no way to stop the government from forcing them to buy things. That's completely unconstitutional. You can't force people to buy something that they can't afford. Refusal to buy health insurance is refraining from engaging in commerce. It's not commerce. So you can't regulate non-commerce on the idea that it's commerce. You can't regulate the purchase of health insurance, which occurs online, as if it's travel to conduct commerce, like you deliver a health insurance policy in a truck across state lines. That doesn't happen anymore. It's all online now. That's not commerce. I mean, part of that's why, Amazon got away with, making so much money on online sales, but like, in part, good for them, until they got, Pentagon, hundreds of millions of dollars or billions of dollars Pentagon contract. I mean, Amazon was taking advantage of the tax system, fine, but it did what it needed to earn money. People needed to buy things online. They did what they needed to do to make money, and it helped people, and it got them their shit. But then they got a contract with the Army, and they fucked it up, and that's when it became unfair. I mean, it became unfair a little earlier because Amazon, I don't think any company should have trademarks because that's at public expense. Trademarks and patents are basically, and copyrights, they're a temporary monopoly. They're a temporary, company gets a temporary exclusive right to profit. That's a monopoly. It's exclusive and it's limited by the public, but it's a monopoly nonetheless. Why should the public suffer through monopolies? Why should we suffer through taking the money from the poor away to give to health insurance companies, which already have billions of dollars and are controlling our lawmakers through lobbyists? Now, here's the actual thing I was trying to get to, why it's unconstitutional. I mean, aside from the fact that it's just mathematically stupid and inefficient to try to tax the act of non-commerce, because there's no money to be made in that. People aren't buying health insurance because they can't afford it. So you can't tax that. There's a zero. You can't put in any number tax on a $0 item. If you multiply it together, it'll always come out to zero. So it's like there was some finding by a court in American history, I can't really remember, but like basically it's stupid in all American jurisprudence to have over a 25% tax, or maybe even over like a 4 or 5% tax. But states routinely have, Illinois has a 9% sales tax. So why would you tax nothing? Why would you tax the non-purchase of health insurance? that is not constitutional. It's not a direct tax. And I mean, you could frame it as a capitation because they're forcing everyone onto health insurance, but it doesn't impose an equal monetary burden on each person. That's the thing. Financial proposals of the Congress are supposed to more or less equally benefit or weigh a burden on all the people in the country, you know, on the basis of what state they're in, which is why we have Republicans saying, let's block grant Medicare. Well, it's like, okay, they want to apportion this Medicare spending based on population. Well, it's like, okay, great. But you got to think about, okay, well, maybe they want to expand that. They sound like the kind of people who are amenable to expanding that. Why not appeal to those Republican lawmakers and say, hey, you got this work requirement in order to get on Medicare? That's stupid. No one can work in a pandemic. Don't you see they sent everyone home? Do you want people to be healthy enough to go back to work or not? You want people to be afraid to go to work because they might get sick? Or do you want to do your job as a legislator? So it's like, it's not like there aren't any Republicans trying to offer solutions. There are. It's just that Democrats have been brainwashed into thinking for 8 years that, oh, Republicans don't have a solution. Republicans don't have a proposal. So they do have a proposal. Listen to the debates. I know 3/4 of them are complete idiots, but there's every once in a while there's someone in there who can explain it. And Ted Cruz debating AOC would do wonders. Ted Cruz debated Bernie Sanders. He should debate AOC. I think they have a lot in common. They get rid of that employer-provided tax credit, making it equally easy for the employed and the unemployed to get health insurance. If we had an unrigged, economy where people had employment. But we can work back towards that. We can work towards having, 3D printing and overproduction, mass production, and use those and bring the industry back so that we eventually, have some lower prices, some price relief. We can do tax relief, get rid of sales taxes. We can make sure that medical device sales tax doesn't come back that it took so long to get rid of. That was going to fund Obamacare and solve all our problems. Well, you know what? It slowed down medical industry. And now, what does everyone want? Well, we want farmers. We want companies in our backyard making medical devices. We want that so badly, we'll put up with all the pollution in the high population areas in order to get it. So you've been suckered in to get polluted some more, and then the medical devices, which are being sprayed with the pollutants, then they're going to do the surgery on you with those medical devices. It's like, we have the fucking pharmaceuticals to treat COVID already. We have the medical devices to treat all the diseases already. They're just not being distributed correctly. Maybe you think Medicare for All is going to provide for that distribution. I mean, economically, yeah, it would probably make purchasing efficient because bulk purchasing saves money. It's the so-called multiplier effect, but really it's not really a multiplier effect. It's just how you efficiently purchase it. Anyway, but you also got to remember that's a monopsony. That's the opposite of monopoly. A monopoly is a it's a selling monopoly, and a monopsony is a monopoly on purchasing. So the government healthcare monopsony, it would allow the federal government to purchase all healthcare. That means you wouldn't be able to purchase any healthcare without the government getting involved. It's like, oh, no, that's not how it works. They're going to pay for it for you. It's like, yeah, if that treatment is legal. Weed, not yet legal. Hydroxychloroquine, not really yet fucking legal. I can't get antibiotics or an inhaler without a prescription. So you'll only be able to get things that are legal. Right now, it's like, oh, we could expand the list of drugs that they're negotiating prices on. It's like, well, why don't we have all drugs on that list instead of limiting it to 150? Or better yet, we could just get rid of patents. An article came out recently, like saying my idea, what I ran on, which is, well, they're saying temporarily get rid of patents. It's like, well, sure, or get rid of them or reduce how long they last. Because here's my idea. Here's what I ran on. Empathic, EMPATHIC, eliminating medical patents to achieve technology for human immortality cheaply. You reduce they call it the lifespan of medical patents. Reduce the lifespan of medical patents. This is what I said, this is my slogan. In order to increase the lifespan of human beings. The sooner these patents expire, the sooner the generics can come into existence, and the quicker they'll become accessible and affordable, because there will be no monopoly. So competition can help us. It's called price competition. When there are more people making the product, you say, oh, it cuts into the profits of a job maker. Just shut the fuck up. That's capitalist bullshit that you've been fed. There's Democrats out there who think that they wouldn't even have welfare if it weren't for the capitalist state. It's like all that money is being stolen from you and then, dangled in front of you as a carrot and have a quarter of it given back to you. Not even that. So you just need to stop letting them take your money and stop believing that they're going to give you all the things that you're begging for. You need to stop looking like you're begging. You need to understand how the Constitution works. Article 1, Section 8 does not include the word health. You might say, oh, it includes the word welfare. Like there's the welfare clause, the general welfare clause. Whatever is generally beneficial for the people is no, it has to be apportioned among the states. But here's the thing. I'm open to getting rid of that. We can change the Constitution all you want. You just have to have an amendment, and that can take anywhere from 6 months to 7 years. It doesn't have to take a long, long time. You can do it quickly if you're insistent, and you're like, okay, let's have a Medicare for all bill now. It's like, well, you could, but you'd have to have an enabling clause that allows the federal government to regulate health. You can't just say, and here's what we've said if you look at American history, the government has to control money, mail, and military. It's like, okay, that makes sense. I'm following you so far. Hang on. Government has to have offices, right? Yeah. Well, it has to have land for these offices to exist. Okay. Well, let the government take all the land it wants for any reason. As well, it's like, okay, we limit that by only allowing the government to have like the District of Columbia and like ports and things that are essential for our defense. But then through eminent domain and other stuff and sweeping all these different industries and sectors of society, health, agriculture, education, retirement, they just sweep entire sectors of society and economy into the federal government's purview and control and under the president's desk. And you can't just propose federal legislation on Social Security, health care, and education and welfare without putting people's freedom in danger and putting in danger the freedom of the states to control those things. And I'm not saying completely. I'm saying when the federal government fails to do so or refuses to. It's like, okay, you want healthcare and education and retirement planning. What if the federal government doesn't want to give those to you and they just want to give it to corrupt politicians and their lobbyist friends and use it to have affairs with their secretaries and have hush money for the people they raped? What if they're conning you over and fucking over again and you don't even know how to legally allow the federal government to regulate healthcare so that you can get that health insurance, Medicare for all vote put in legally without some crazy president or the Supreme Court striking it down or the president doing a veto or a presidential signing statement that weakens it or implement it this way, or just 25 governors who are like, I'm not going to fucking do that. You're wasting your time. You have to know what you're doing. The federal government, the Congress is not allowed to take this vote. Now, no one's going to stop them. Supreme Court is not going to stop them. Unless they rule that that act is unconstitutional, which is unlikely. But the Supreme Court has never stopped the Congress from willingly giving away its own power to the president. It's rarely stopped the Congress from giving away the people's power, which it never delegated to the Congress, away to the president and away to independent groups like the Federal Reserve and the military-industrial complex and the medical device cartel and the Israeli sex trafficking syndicate. Don't just trust these people to give you health care. Ezekiel Emanuel was the architect of Obamacare. Remember what I said? 25 years we've been arguing. Heritage Foundation, Hillary, Paulini, Romney, Obama. It's the same piece of fucking legislation, just slight changes. Medicare for all is not going to be much different. You think you're going to abolish private health insurance? I mean, more power to you, but just remember what you're abolishing. Like, I'm not trying to agree with these Fox News people who are like, or the neoliberals like Chris Matthews. I'm just trying to point out a fact when I say this. I don't necessarily know how I even feel about it yet. The federal government, no government is allowed to infringe with the obligation of contracts. And those things, those health insurance plans and contracts that unions have negotiated for, those are private contracts. Those are in the context of a private employer negotiating with you guessed it, private union. A union is a private entity. Did you know that? You might think it's not private, it's somehow immune from being private because it's socialist leaning or because it's democratic. No. I'm sorry to inform you, if you look up business alliances, industry trade groups, and unions, you will find that those categories blur together, that there's barely any distinction. There's been increasingly less distinction throughout the last 100 years between those things. That, the AMA, American Medical Association, bunch of doctors, well-paid doctors. Is that a union? Those rich-ass doctors, 100,000 of them or whatever, who control how many people can become an AMA certified doctor. It's like, does that sound like a union to you, or does that sound like a group of people who are, well, they've aligned on the basis of a common interest? They're the same type of worker. There's no real distinction between an industry trade group and a union and a business alliance. People have united on their common interest in order to pursue, based on what they have in common in terms of what job they do. There's really no distinction. And the fact that unions are private entities, it really should hit it home for you that unions are businesses. And if we don't understand how it could be good for the government to operate partially as a business, not for profit on the backs of people, just for profit because we're in fucking debt, because we have deficits. We need to stop running a deficit and start running a surplus. I mean, you might call it profit, but I'm saying do it like a cooperative. You do it to eventually pay off the debt. You gain a surplus, you generate a surplus so that you can take that surplus money and give it back to the people or the creditors, the bondholders, the Federal Reserve, China, Japan. Not that the Federal Reserve necessarily deserves that money. It should be giving it back to the people instead of the bankers who conned us into all these wars. So we could have, we could have redistribution, or we could just say, hey, this is a free market. Those laws that allow the subsidies and bailouts and the restructuring of those companies in 2008 and 2009, and then again in 2019, 2020, or just 2020, those are unconstitutional. We could do that if the government had some balls, if we had that understanding that the government's not supposed to steal its own people's money to promote its own business, promote its own economy, promote its own industry. That's not fair. That's not how a free market works. That's how a rigged market works. We could just say that these bailouts were unconstitutional, but no, it's too late because of, what are those laws? The ban on ex post facto laws. It was already legal for the government to give those companies our money, and then after that to offer Amazon and Google and Facebook and Microsoft those $100 billion or whatever dollar contracts they did with them, 100 million. Facebook spying on us, Google spying on us, Amazon spying on our purchases, and they're doing logistics for the Pentagon. So we have a rigged market. They all work with fucking Epstein and Maxwell. I explained this in the previous video. And I'm not trying to distract you by being like, oh, fucking think of the children, but who the fuck is? Who's thinking about it? So you want your kids to inherit the same, more or less, same shitty medical system that you have. It's like you think that Medicare for all is really going to solve everything. You're not going to do anything about patents. You're not going to do anything to get rid of unnecessary taxes on medical goods and medical labor, medical services. You're not going to do anything to make sure that politicians don't pocket this money. You're not going to make sure that we're not going to get forced to buy health insurance. Are we going to get forced to buy health insurance? It's like, yeah, through our taxes. And Bernie Sanders says, well, you're not going to pay at the point of sale. It's like, well, I'm going to pay when they fucking start forcibly doing fucking... The military has vaccine guns. Did you know that? Did you know that the police in the military is just an excuse to fucking poison and gas people and pepper spray them and vaccinate them and use them as test subjects before they try out those things on the public? Do you remember the Tuskegee experiments? I know a guy who got vaccinated by the army and he got sick afterwards, but that's not the point. The point is they had a gun to do it, a mechanical gun. And this was the 70s, so around 80s or 90s or something. So 30, 40, 50 years later, how much better vaccine gun technology do you think they fucking have? Look up medical rape. Don't tell me that I need to support Medicare for all. Like, this is the biggest fucking deal in the world. This is the most important thing. There's ways to get healthcare to people without making it into just, oh, this is about health insurance and political policy and legislation. Now, I'm sorry I've done that a bit because I made this all about the Constitution. But remember, we can change that Constitution any fucking time we want with an amendment or through a goddamn revolution and abolishing the federal government. And maybe making a new one if we feel like it afterwards. So, like I said, there's ways to solve this problem. It's just that, it's good that Jimmy Dore has given some attention to Medicare for All, but we need to focus, now that we're focused on Medicare for All, focus on the other medical policy issues that could change. Because guess what? What if there's a vote for Medicare for All? It's like, okay, well, what if it fails? What if it goes through and then eventually it's found unconstitutional? Well, we're going to have to talk about what the state lines plan is. The fact that 46 states, not the federal government, would have to take the action in order to allow people to buy health insurance from across state lines in more than just the 5 states that are doing it now. Does anyone on Fox News or MSNBC or CNN or Jimmy Dore, does anyone tell you that? Who's been telling you that for the past 10 years? Like me, Ted Cruz, and Doug Schoen. Like, these are the only people who talk about those issues. There's actual ways to get people to reach across the aisle. You can get libertarians and socialists to work together. All you have to do is debate these issues openly and discuss them in detail. And I'm glad CNN's, they're a bunch of fucking Pentagon and Hollywood-controlled whores, but they're at least having Bernie and Ted Cruz on to debate each other a few years ago about this. And they've had some other debates that are important. So we need to keep talking, but we need to study the Constitution. The Department of Health and Human Services, before it was that, it was part of the Department of Health, Education, and Welfare. And that was HEW. That was the welfare agency. That was an all-purpose welfare agency that covered health and education before it became HHS in the modern day. So HEW, like I said, the general welfare, it doesn't mean the specific welfare. It's like you could want to help poor people, but like it's not yet constitutional to just help poor people or to just help rich people or to just help any one class of people using federal taxpayer money. That's not fair. It has to be apportioned. Now, you can argue about whether it makes sense to apportion healthcare when people in different states are suffering and have medical burdens at different rates of medical debt and stuff like that. Like Mississippi has pretty bad health but a low population, so maybe they deserve more a little bit than like some middle of the road state or a high population state. Like, I don't know. Maybe the Constitution is fundamentally flawed. It probably and almost certainly and it definitely fucking is. But there's a way to change it. We don't try that anymore. The last constitutional amendment was passed 28 years ago. So watch my previous campaign ad from 8 years ago, because I understood this 8-9 years ago and basically wrote a dissertation explaining why Obamacare is unconstitutional and economically unsound and not feasible and just completely nonsense. Watch my campaign ad, get a damn amendment, and you'll understand why this is all a big waste of time. You have to propose actually constitutional suggestions if you want to make fundamental, transformational, and permanent and long-lasting change in this country. You can't look like a weak beggar, okay? You gotta be like, look, I'm an independent worker. I control when I go to work. I control how much I sell my labor for. I control what currency I will accept in exchange for my labor. We need to bring back negotiating for gold, which is legal if you can get your boss to, make that deal with you. I'm not trying to promote Bitcoin, but I'm saying, like, what if you want guaranteed access to food, housing, shelter? Like, who's to say your boss can't provide that for you? Like, there's laws in Illinois saying that if a company says you have to have a certain tool in order to do the job, they have to provide it for you. I mean, that makes too much sense, right? There's a law that says in Illinois, I don't know other states, but a landlord has to spend at least 10% of your rent, if you want them to, repairing your dwelling. Now, I don't know why we don't make that like 50% or maybe 100, or, you know, we need to tax landlords and make sure they spend all that money on their tenants, or else there's no improvement of the property going on, and somebody needs to be taxed for that. If you just have a property and you just own it and there's no one's using it and no one's benefiting from it, it's like you should be taxed. It's like, what the hell are you doing? You're occupying it and you're excluding other people from it. Anything you can exclude other people from doing, which otherwise before that was a natural right that anyone could have done, anyone had equal access to it, you're a monopolist. You're profiting based on a legally granted monopoly that doesn't exist, wouldn't exist without a state and without legal theft from the taxpayers. I'm not trying to say fucking billionaires. Poor people pay taxes too. Poor people pay the most taxes because they're the ones paying the most sales taxes. And that makes up for all the, income taxes that the rich are paying. And then the super rich don't pay anything at all because they have lost carryover and shit like that. So, we need to tax existing wealth of the corporations and CEOs and people who receive direct money that belong to the taxpayers rightfully, if we were supposed to have a constitution and a limited government and free markets that aren't rigged, and free trade where the government can't steal its own people's money and benefit its own businesses. That's unfair. What we're doing in Obamacare is just it's a purchasing monopoly instead of a selling monopoly. Well, if the government can buy all the health care and you can't have any of it without the government's permission, then guess what? You're only going to get any extra health care that you want by begging the government or by breaking the law. So just be careful what you wish for. Maybe Medicare for all would be good. I'm just saying, be cautious. Know about the economic and constitutional implications and potential consequences, potential things that could go wrong, potential stumbling blocks, and be aware of the things we're being distracted from. Health insurance policy is a big distraction from the need to administer healthcare services directly to patients who are sick and cannot afford it. Health insurance is a distraction from the amazing advances that are being made in medical technology every day. 3D printed organs, robot surgeons, they're growing spinach leaves on human heart tissue and letting blood run through it like it's blood vessels. We can interface with plants. They grew a lamb in a bag. There's all kinds of, genome research. There's adult stem cells. There's resveratrol. There's study of the tips of our chromosomes, telomeres that could lengthen our life by decreasing the rate of decay of our organ systems. There are solutions to your problems. Screaming Medicare for all does one thing, but Democrats don't like to discuss issues because they're not intelligent enough to. And if you're intelligent enough to understand what I've talked about in this video, congratulations. You are no longer a Democrat, just like I haven't been for 14 years. So why are you still voting for pedophile Joe Biden and crackhead Barack Obama? Why are you still supporting these people? Barack Obama didn't do anything for black home ownership rates. He increased the number of wars we're at. And Joe Biden put 1 million black people in prison. But he seems less racist than Donald Trump, so you just want to ask him and all his goons for fucking healthcare. They're just going to ask Ezekiel Emanuel to put you out of your misery. That's all that's going to happen. These people hate you. They want to draft you, and they want to steal your children while you're at war. They want to steal your children while they're at school and you're at work. That's why they separate you. That's what you do to cattle. You separate the males from the females from the children because they have different purposes for you. You fatten up the children and fill their heads with lies and pacify them. That's the calves. You milk the mother for all that it's worth, and you make sure that she's well taken care of and she's dependent on the farmer and not the bull, because bulls can be pissed off and they defend their families and they have horns and they're tough. Government knows this about us. They're treating us like cattle. Stop working for them. Stop begging. You can go walk around and eat the plants. It's medicine. So here's what we've allowed the government to tell us. We need to provide you with your money, mail, and military, so we're going to steal all the property we need to have these offices on. And then we're going to take your property, and the federal government, the amount of land that it has is going to grow so much that we have to put use to it. We have to put it to use. We have to make agriculture, the Department of Agriculture now. And then we'll have the USDA and regulate food, and have the FDA. And now we have to, since we're regulating food, we have to have a national health care plan and have Obamacare and force people to buy health insurance and potentially order people, to eat certain things, potentially. So because we have to have a government and we have to have courts, they get to just take whatever land they want, and then they get to turn it into farms and turn us into the cattle. That's what's going on here. We can't allow the fact that we need government, which we don't. We're taking this as our fundamental premise. It's wrong. We don't need them. It's the state. The state is based on territorialism, like the way a wolf would piss to mark his territory. It's based on monopoly, and it's based on legalized violence. That's all the state is. They don't care about us. It's not good government. It's not governance. It's not the law. The moral law is the law. Government legislation that doesn't keep shit regular, that doesn't maintain an ordinary society, with free trade, and that more or less allows people to do what they want socially or economically, unless and until it hurts someone else or interferes with their ability to do something else. That would be what the law looked like. That would be what the government, if they respect the moral law and respect everyone equally. We have a society where everyone believes in the legal right to steal from each other. And until that changes, we're just going to be begging for more handouts. And as long as we get $1 for every $1,000 the banks get and the big businesses, we're going to be happy, because the government could rape our kids a little bit more. It could, if it wanted to, make these medical patents last longer. It could make everything more expensive by adding unnecessary sales taxes to it, if it wanted to. And thank God it fucking doesn't. Are you a fucking slave? I talked to 70-year-olds who at current events groups, and it's basically like, what do you think the government's going to do to us next? I mean, that's the air in the room. I mean, it's more specific questions like getting obsessed with the charisma and personality of individuals in the White House. But we're not talking about issues in depth anymore. I fucking know that. We're not talking about science or technology or social science or psychology. Those things have to do with politics too. Political psychology, social sciences, and humanities. You need to understand how the human mind works and how people cooperate, people who are different from each other, how they cooperate. You know, understand the value of competition and cooperation when taken together against monopolies. Well, what are we doing? We're creating a national healthcare monopsony, a purchasing monopoly, so that you can't buy healthcare. You want to stop yourself from being able to buy healthcare? I hope you know what you're doing, because I don't know what that fucking means. Good luck. I mean, force the vote. Fuck it. I don't care. It's probably unconstitutional. You need an enabling clause before you force a Medicare for all vote. You have to empower the federal government formally through a constitutional amendment to have authority over national health care as a national issue exclusively, such that the states and the people can't, or something, before you have that Medicare for all vote. And yeah, that could take 6 months, and you don't have time for it. Well, you don't have time to do anything right. Amendments take 6 months to 7 years. That's how long they historically take. And if you don't want to bother to know how your government works, when it's working right, which is rare, I know. You have just as much right to be impatient with your government as me. But I'm sick of talking to Democrats who's just like, oh, we just need to beg the companies harder to give us better jobs and better prices. No, we need to withdraw our support from the government so they stop giving our money and power away to their crony lobbyist friends in Walmart and Amazon and Google and Facebook and Northrop Grumman and the other military industrial companies. Free the market, abolish the state, walk around and eat medicine. Plant medicine in the ground. Eat it. Drink quinine. Have things that are good for you available in your system, in your body, to be absorbed by your body. Don't eat garbage. I saw this meme on the internet saying it's better to eat junk food than to eat nothing. It's like, really? Is it? Do you know what's in some of these foods? Aspartame, which breaks down into formaldehyde. There's an artificial sugar, I forget which one of them, that's chemically similar to chlorine or like meth or something. And even if I'm wrong on that, they're giving kids meth because they tell them they got Adderall. It's a kid with a shitload of energy. They're tiny. They don't weigh anything. They have a fucking shitload of energy. You're feeding them all this food. Yeah, they're going to have a lot of energy. They don't have fucking ADD. It's like, oh, they're distracted from all the orders that I'm giving them. It's like, well, why don't you teach them something instead of give them orders? Why don't you teach them what the Second Amendment said and then teach them what it said before they passed it? Instead of just deluding them about how to interpret it such that it means the opposite of what it means. Why don't we teach kids how the government works? We don't do that. It's actually really fucking simple. It's really easy to go past, three-ring circus. Just do a second day of civics, for fuck's sake. We don't teach people. We don't teach college students. We barely teach college students about the Constitution. If you come out of college with the respect for Constitution or private property, it's like they're like, what are you talking about? Like, the government has a right to just regulate anything. So that's why we had a Supreme Court justice ask to her face whether she would support forcing people to eat broccoli. I don't know if you know, but that's how far it's gotten in this country. That was 10 years ago, and I was sounding the alarm, and people were like, who gives a shit? Broccoli is stupid. That's a stupid issue because it's broccoli. Just like if Andrew Yang says, well, let's get rid of the penny because we're losing a shitload of fucking money on having pennies around. And people's like, oh, pennies are stupid things. Pennies aren't even worth a penny. It's like, yeah, that's the fucking point, asshole. So yeah, everything's stupid. No one wants to talk about health. Old people are so callous and unwilling to learn that they actually effectively want expensive medicine and want a lack of development of medical industry. Or if they want development of medical industry, they want to make damn sure they get that pollution along with it. They don't want to do anything to get these factories that make medical devices or sterilizing chemicals. They don't want to do anything to make sure those companies aren't in a high population area. So yeah, in conclusion, you don't even fucking know. I would say vote for me, but just hang a politician instead and plant a medicinal plant in your front yard. That's all we can do. We got to develop mutual aid and direct action networks. That's the only thing we can do because the government is not interested in helping us. It's only interested in looking like they're helping us by sending us checks after they stole a greater amount of money from us that was in those checks. Get real. I started my previous video by saying America is ungovernable, but I forgot to explain why. America is ungovernable because most people are not intelligent enough to understand the very simple and very easy to understand laws that we have in place and the limitations that are on our government, federal government, because of the Bill of Rights. People don't understand that you're a free person. You don't need to burden yourself with all these laws. We trust you to do the right thing. You don't need a state law to solve a problem that you yourself have the freedom to solve using any number of actions you want, helping your fellow citizens however you want to. We don't need government to solve health problems. We need doctors to solve health problems. We don't need Dr. Jill Biden to solve health problems. We need an actual doctor to solve health problems. I don't have any fucking money, and they're trying to make me buy health insurance in a system that I know that medical rape exists in, and that the longer I stay a weed smoker, the longer the chances are they'll eventually steal my blood or steal my children, which is why I haven't had any. I don't want to subject my kids to the draft or to whatever crazy kind of trafficking programs are going to be, just from they're born at the hospital, they take them to the school, and they take you to work, and then the kids go on the field trips. You don't really account for them there. They're not fully accounted for there. And then they They put them to the cubicles, and then in school they're in a school to prison pipeline, and if they can get out of that, they're in cubicles, and then their kids are part of the trafficking system. Do you really want to keep this going? Do you really want to say to your kids, hey, we got you health care, and your kid be like, yeah, that'll come in handy after the government drafts me, sends me to Afghanistan for the 50th year in a row, and blows my legs off? We'll have full medical care for all the people whose lives we're destroying. Great. Is this the best you can hope for, guys? Is this the best you can think of? You gotta study the law. Not really much more to say than that, except everything. You can't just pick something to say and scream it on the street over and over again. You have to actually talk to the people who come up to you and ask you why you're saying those things. Or else you're a fascist and you're trying to stop them from speaking and stop them from using public property, the public sidewalks, public roads, to express themselves. So respect other people's rights and property, and they'll respect yours. Remember what you're threatening to take away. You know, unions' preferential treatment for themselves, as exemplified in these private contracts that are negotiated for only the benefit of those union members, because of the majority unionism clause in the 1935 National Labor Relations Act, which we all of course know. We can sing it like a song by now. No, you know how fucking easily I could teach people law or teach people how to be a congressman if I had like 10 minutes alone with them? No, you gotta pay $100,000 to get that education. Or you could click this video by Joe Kopsick on YouTube that's free for everyone. That's what the open access society is. We don't need money, we don't need pricing, we don't need taxes, we don't need to pay fees for the right to collaborate with each other. We don't need to pay fees for the right to access markets that are already fucking open. We don't need to pay, we don't need to get prosecuted for trying to hitchhike with, on roads that are already built, using cars where the rides are donated by people who give that ride of their own volition and the good of their heart, the goodness of their heart. No, but we want to tax that. We want to put a tax on human compassion and mutual aid and direct action and voluntary assistance of each other. Why? You're going to try to stop it? You're trying to make it more expensive? You're trying to take a cut off it? That's all they want. They're tricking you into supporting another big government program that, yeah, it could be successful like the NIH. But it's like, great. Did the British people's royal family and the aristocrats stop raping their children? No. Now the churches are in on it too, and they've always been. But no, that hasn't changed. That hasn't helped anything. They all got fucked up teeth, and their kids are getting raped left and right. And they're the fattest country in Europe with the lowest age of consent. Fucking Britain's fucked up, okay? France is fucked up. They got a big police state, but they have socialism. No, they have a Napoleonic fucking state socialist, Otto von Bismarck, a Bismarckian Prussian state. Medicare for all is not good enough. You want your freedom, don't you? You're fucking in chains. Like, you want good healthcare in chains so that you're a good worker for the system. Go eat some bitter herbs and get out of those shackles and run. They're not going to help you. When Jimmy Dore quotes George Carlin and says they don't give a fuck about you, he should remind himself that George Carlin actually meant that. And maybe it's inconsistent for me to run for office and give everyone false hope, but it's like I'm educating you about 100 times more than my opponents are, about 10 times more than my colleagues are, because I study both anarchy and what the actual set of federal laws are that we have that are fucking our lives up on a daily basis. But what do I have to show for it? I'm like, I'm a hipster because I like old things like laws that work properly, or modes of governance that used to work properly that we're not trying anymore. And I'm just like a nerd, and yeah, I'm a control freak because I want to control everyone's lives by making them get the fuck away from me and leaving me alone. We have the right to be left alone in this country. We talk about right and left. What about the right to be left alone? What if I want to figure out my own medical needs for myself? What if I'm going to improve my own diet and exercise? What if I don't want to be forced to buy anything? What if What if I could start my own business? What if I could start my own fucking currency? What if I could sell some of the stuff I have? Um, I don't know. Make a bunch of promises. Like, don't start your own currency, start your own check companies. Like, fucking enhance your reputation, volunteer for others, engage in acts of mutual aid and charity and direct action to solve problems that the government refuses to. That's what we need. And when the federal government refuses to solve it, the state needs to step in. And when the states won't solve it, the market needs to solve it. And when the markets can't solve it with for-profit private shit, the cooperative part of the market or the charitable part of the market needs to solve it. There are solutions to our problems. They are not always necessarily political, but we don't talk enough about the nuts and bolts of the policies that are being debated. I mean, it's on C-SPAN. You can see it sometime if you catch it at the right time. But the way it's presented on these mainstream media networks, they just gloss over it. Believe me, if you agree with anything I've said today, if you appreciate the detail of how I've explained what these proposals are, I've wanted to bring you more details. In 2017, I had an editor say, hey, can you add all this to the article? It's like this hour-long phone conversation. It's like, yeah, I can add all that. And he's like, okay, cool. Can you get rid of all this other stuff? It's like, do you want me to inform people or not? It's like, hey, can you not tell people about the Cassidy Collins plan? Why would you want me to take people's options away? It's like, this was a libertarian guy. Like, we're in the LP. We're trying to give people more options. We're trying to inform people more. The idea of free will and libertarianism is that if you give people all the information, then an adult will make the right decision and you won't need the government to tell them what to do and tell them right and wrong. We don't believe in that anymore. We just want to tell people about our solution. I told you about shit that I like and shit that I think won't work, shit that will probably work, shit that you might like. I told you shit that I don't care what your fucking opinion is. I told you facts about our government. That's what I'm telling you. I'm not trying to bring any bias into this. And I know I probably can't help it. I presented a libertarian or mutualist or Georgist or post-scarcity, bent to this. I can't help it. Anarchist bent. But like, I want everyone to be informed. I don't care whether you're my friend or my enemy. I don't care whether the truth benefits evil people or good people. They talk about, like, the government talks about leaks of information, sensitive information, as if the government's purpose is to set up a wall to keep the public protected from information that's leaking from the outside world. And they're like, oh, a new leak came in today. I was like, what? Did the Dutch boy's finger come out of the dike? Like, what happened? Like, no, there's a new leak of information. We know a thing that we didn't know yesterday. It's like, oh God, the world's coming to an end. Who's responsible? The Russians. Like, who does it benefit? Trump is like, oh no. It's like, what's the information? Like, you don't want to know that. You don't want to know that. It's like, what's the information? The sky is blue. The state lines plan could, allow people to buy health insurance from across state lines. If we just have the laws be a little bit more uniform on health insurance, which Obamacare said was going to be the purpose of Obamacare, but he just backed down. We just all forgot about that. They didn't let the states do shit. It was just the top-down thing. They didn't even let the states really cooperate. They just psyched them out. So we're not allowed to tell the truth because it could benefit the enemies of the assholes like Biden and Obama and Pelosi who have misled us for decades and years, and Hillary Clinton. Yeah, we can't admit that they were wrong and that they misled us. We have to keep letting them mislead us and keep saying, oh, I'm a Christian. I don't hate anyone. Let's forgive everyone. It's like, yeah, let's forgive our abusers. Let's forgive people who just keep telling us that they're going to give us everything we ever dreamed of and then just keep taking it away. Let's just keep forgiving them. Because, like, that's how you get less abusers, right? No, that's how you get more abusers. So just be like, everyone's just like, okay, government, I'm in your hands. Do whatever you want to me. It's like, are you a masochist? We're a society of beggars because the government is a tool that we all use to steal money from each other legally. I know I'm just regurgitating Bastiat, but it's true. Read The Law by Bastiat. Read the actual law, the federal legislation, and read the moral law. That's the one real law that's going to stay true here. Like, we came to this country to stay out of European conflicts. And After 150 years, we got involved in World War One, and the arms industry grew, and now we're in 165 countries. It failed. I'm not just saying America failed. I'm not just saying American imperialism failed. I'm saying coming to the new world, white people coming to the new world failed. We left to stop being involved in these old world problems. What are we doing? We're getting dragged in, and we're spending more money on killing people than on helping their health and on medicine. But that's not to say that throwing money at this problem will solve it. And doctors have got to be paid, but keep in mind what I pointed out, the AMA, and Charlie Kirk pointed this out to Sam Cedar, and he was right to do this. The AMA has quotas. They won't allow more than a certain number of people to become licensed doctors every year. If you don't think that's a problem, I think you're not paying attention, because the distribution of doctors, the number of people per doctor is a figure you have to pay attention to. Now, of course, the third world needs doctors a lot more than America does. And to tell you the truth, that's a little bit why, that's totally why Bernie Sanders administration, or, the kind of, it's paleoliberalism is what he wants. It's a mix of socialism and nationalism, but I'm not saying it's national, so I'm not saying it's Nazism. He's a trade illiberal. He thinks that restricting trade and restricting the movement of people is going to help poor people, and yeah, it might to some degree, but it's also going to wipe out jobs and wipe out, the freedom of trade, and it's going to make it difficult for non-citizens to qualify for welfare, which has always been the case. So we need to replace our government completely with a system of mutual aid and direct action. And I should have been saying that a long time ago. But we need to study mutualist economics and have mutual aid and voluntary cooperation and voluntary association. But we need to preserve the spirit of liberty at the same time. Don't raise barriers against people's ability to associate with each other if they want. And also, don't require people to associate with people that they don't want to associate with. Because if you require two people to associate with, who they detest each other, if they detest each other, you make them vote in the same voting block, it's like you're not going to have a peaceful society. To some extent, you have to live and let live. You do your thing and out of your mind. That's why we have 50 states. If there wouldn't be a reason to have those 50 states if we were supposed to just be a uniform, like top down from the federal government to the states kind of country. We would have like 10 FEMA regions or something. Oh wait, we have that. Well, that's not constitutional. If we would have just followed the Constitution, we wouldn't have had government grow so big. I'm talking about not just the budget, but the police state. We wouldn't have had to deal with all these problems. We could have curbed this in 9/11. After 9/11, we could have come to our senses. This war is failing. We could have elected Ron Paul. He would have brought us back to pre-9/11 level military budgets, and that would have gotten us back to surplus budgets under late Clinton. Remember when we were generating more money than we were taking in? That's what we have to do. People other than Ron Paul could get us there, yeah. Other people than Ron Paul could have gotten us there between then and now, like Gary Johnson, Jill Stein, Constitution Party, Socialist Party, maybe. But we don't talk about those options. We just tell people, hey, you hate children or whatever the fuck if you don't vote for Biden, and you hate this country if you don't vote for Trump. And meanwhile, they're Trump's screwing America in his own way, Biden's screwing children in his own way, and none of it really fucking checks out. But we just keep listening to CNN and Fox and MSNBC for our information instead of doing our own research and checking out new YouTube channels, check out new political commentators on YouTube and other networks, podcasts. Willingly seek them out. Seek out people who claim to be experts on legislation. Seek out people who have a lot of videos on a lot of different topics. I'm not talking about David Pakman and Sam Cedar, even Ben Shapiro. Listen to people who are willing to entertain new and different perspectives. Listen to people who are debating multiple people. Listen to people who have guests on their show. And I know I don't do that much, but you've seen my evolution throughout the years. I'll swing back and forth from one party to another depending on who's right on which issue at the time. Like, the solution's usually somewhere in the middle. Not saying, centrism is a solution. We need radical centrism. Everyone's got their own definition of those words. We got to stop being about these two major parties. It's a false choice. It's Coke or Pepsi when, they both got aspartame or some shit in them, or sucralose. It's chemically similar to chlorine. You could drink water. It's like if we had a Coke and Pepsi party and someone's voting for the water party, it's like that's how we save money on health, guys. And then the Coke and Pepsi parties are just going to be like, oh no, we need to steal your money and subsidize the production of Coke and Pepsi, and that's how we're going to make it cheaper while also forcing you to buy it. It's like, there's water falling from the fucking sky, like all around us, like right the fuck now. And there's these cheap and easy filters that you can get or make yourself if you try to. So we don't need to put him in a memory hole. Yeah. So you'll get all the healthcare you want in jail. You'll get all the free housing you want in the FEMA camps. I was saying this 10 years ago, but I got distracted for 10 years thinking the government could solve any one problem. It's like it probably can, but it doesn't want to. They're too busy trafficking your kids and trafficking immigrants around and putting black people in jail and taking people away from their families so they can't defend them and putting them in jail and subjecting them to involuntary labor. That's the new slavery. Kamala Harris doesn't care about that. Oh, she's got a Jamaican mom or whatever the fuck. She's working for the Indian RSS and she smokes a small amount of weed, and you think that makes everything okay. I hope you're looking forward to Joe Biden mentioning the Constitution every fucking day like he's Ron Paul. And I know you're going to come to me asking for questions, Democrats. Like, what do I need? What would I do? My president's saying the things that I'm supporting, the things that I'm asking him for have to be constitutional. What do I do? It's like, well, what do is you take fucking 10, 15 years off and you study the way the law works. Or you just listen to me for fucking 5 minutes to an hour. Text me, email me, jwcopsic@gmail.com. Text me at 608-417-9395. Don't call me. I'll answer any of these questions. We don't talk about the state lines plan. We don't talk about the Cassidy Collins plan. We don't talk about block granting Medicare to the states based on population. It's all just Obamacare and Trump care and abolishing Obamacare and Medicare for all and Medicare for America or whatever the fuck it is. I just hope you know what you're doing, guys. I just hope you know what you're doing, because it really doesn't sound like you know what you're doing. If you knew what you're doing, Joe Biden would not be about to become the president of the United States. I know that for damn sure. And a prosecutor who laughs about putting black parents in jail would not be the vice president of the United States. That's not, no. You're the party of the Klan. Shut the fuck up. You're the party of putting black people in prison. You're the party of Bernie Sanders, who wants everyone to think he's this big socialist, but he used the name of Nicole Brown Simpson to justify his Violence Against Women Act, which is like, oh, how could you be against violence against women, Joe? Because he took guns away from everyone, took 19 types of automatic weapons, 19 types of weapons away from people in that 94 crime bill. And you think if they had let women keep those guns, they would have been able to protect themselves from their stalking husbands. If the men who still are part of the families could have had those guns, they could have protected themselves against the goddamn government and things like the MOVE raid in Philadelphia and the murder of Fred Hampton, bombing of the church in Birmingham, all that, killing a Dr. King after he was denied a gun license to protect himself. Your government doesn't give a shit about you. No amount of naming all the minorities, black and Hispanic and Puerto Rican and Filipino and transsexual and homosexual, that doesn't teach kids where the health authority comes from in the federal government. Spoiler alert, it doesn't. It doesn't come from anywhere. You have to have an amendment, or you have to say, hey, Ninth Amendment stance. Health is a natural human right, and people are made out of water and they breathe air, and they're made out of food that's put together, and you don't have a right to fucking regulate that because those are their actual fucking bodies. You only have a right to regulate their economic activity that infringes on other people's freedoms. We don't do that. We don't tell people those ideas. We hide those ideas from children. We need to understand that we do have freedom. You do have the freedom to punch your landlord in the face when he comes to collect the rent and throw him off the fucking stairs. You do have the freedom to corner your boss, and they give you the keys to the fucking company. Okay? It's like Doug Stanhope says, you don't have a responsibility to uphold society or protect society. You have the keys to a company, and you can make them give you what you need to keep coming back there the next day. It's like, hey, you need to pay me more, or I won't be able to pay my rent and keep fucking coming back here comfortably because this doesn't work in my house, and I need this on my car, and just, you need to fucking pay your slaves or feed them, or else they'll start eating each other. It's like basic shit. So we need to rally together. We need to not just support Medicare for all. We need to start talking about $15 minimum wage, but only in conjunction with an exemption for poor people under $30,000, which is roughly 15 at over, full time. People under $30,000 should not pay any taxes whatsoever. And that should be a law if we're going to have a $15 an hour minimum wage. Because if we have that minimum wage, then that means no one can work for less than $15 an hour unless they're illegally employed. And yeah, some people will choose gray market labor, but guess what? It won't be a problem because they won't have to pay any taxes. I figured this out 6 years ago. But I declined from going into academia because it's just like I'd have to promote government propaganda all day. And even if it's not exactly that, it's just, I'm participating in the Bavarian Illuminati degrees system. The Bavarian Illuminati and universities have one important thing in common. They have degrees. You get degrees from them. I'm a Bachelor of Arts in Political Science. I'm first degree. You know who's 33rd degree? I mean, I don't know who's 33rd degree in this fucking educational system, but I know who's at the top of the fucking world right now, and it's Prince Charles, the Prince of Wales, who's a 33-degree Freemason by virtue of his position. These people run the fucking world, and if you think the NIH is good for people, it's just like, I mean, look at their fucking teeth. Look at their teeth. The top's usually fine, but it's the bottom is all crusty, fucking rusted out. Looks like Gary Indiana or Rudy Giuliani. That's what they're going to do to you if you ask for Medicare for all. They're going to solve half of your problems, and the rest of your life, they're just going to fuck it up. And those things are going to change. Like the good things, it's going to be like the story of Job. Like everything you want from the government is going to be taken away from you. The prophet Saul warns people against wanting a king. They ask God to give them a king who will rule over them and fight their battles for them. And God tells Saul to tell the people, and it turns out to be King David, or maybe it's the King Solomon. I don't fucking remember. Anyway, God tells the prophet to tell the people, like, all right, I'll give him a king if you really want, but it's like, I'm the king, But if you really want a king, like, I'll give you a king, but he's going to rule over you, and he's also going to take, he's going to take a third of your shit. He's going to take a third of your money, a third of your sons are going to die in the war, a third of your cattle are going to be gone. He's just going to take all your shit. Everyone's like, sounds good to me. That's what's going on in this country right now. We haven't learned anything in 3,000-4,000 years. We really haven't. If you look at the way the Roman welfare system was set up, the middle class people got to take advantage of the welfare that was intended for lower class people and the poor. Nothing's changed. The more shit changes, the more it stays the same. We need to change. We already have freedom. Freedom is natural, born within each of us. You need to improve the quality of your body and your physical condition so that you can resist these people and so that you can lower your potential expenses of health costs. Eat, run, stay fit. And George Carlin said, die anyway. It's like, yeah, maybe you die. But if we start talking about medical technology, if we start debating this in public, make it a huge issue instead of just yes or no on Medicare for all. You'd be like, what about all the amazing life-extending medical technologies that are out there? What about how they're killing us with, OxyContin or whatever the fuck it was? And I can't even remember the names of the toxic drugs that Purdue made legal. Basically, there's heroin in our pain relievers, and all the whole medical system in the West is just focused on pain relief, pain relief. It's like, well, let's shoot you up with heroin because you have a fucking mild cough then. But we got to get that opium from somewhere. Let's continue to occupy Afghanistan and get that opium to administer to the soldiers who are dying and getting shot to protect that opium. It's all a big hamster wheel. We need to spend more effort, not necessarily just money. We need to spend more effort and attention and time talking and time discussing and time caring about people's needs to have medicine and medical technology administered to them. It can't just be about the law. I just want to include one final thought. Any changes to our medical policy, I mean, like I said, it's not constitutional to do at a national level right now. But agriculture, environment, and health are all properly local issues and not national issues. And so we need to figure out some way to get the changes to our health system to include some changes to the way we think about environmental policy and agricultural policy. And yeah, I'm ripping off this idea from Marianne Williamson, but I've been talking about it for a year and a half, since she brought it up. Agriculture and medicine and environment have a lot to do with each other because the air we breathe determines our health, and the air we breathe is viewed as an environmental issue, but it's also a health issue. And the food we eat determines our health. That's why agriculture is a health issue. Of course it is, but we aren't thinking about it. Like, there's no Minister of Agriculture, Health, and Environment. There's no Department of Agriculture, Health, and Environment. Why the fuck shouldn't there be? Why isn't there one? If Marianne Williamson were Surgeon General or President or something, she would probably advocate for that to happen. So we need to have comprehensive solutions. Like, if we reorganize our government so it's more efficient, we can, deal with these problems in like a 1-2 punch, kill two birds with one stone. They used to have health, education, and welfare together. Why not put those, put agriculture, health, and environment together? Why not have every state have a Department of Agriculture, Health, and Environment? Make it, have a board of like 3 or 6 or 9 people or whatever. 1 or 2 or 3 for agriculture, health, and for environment. Have like doctors and environmental lawyers, environmental scientists, whatever. Do a thing. There's ways to make state governments and health insurance policies, for example, health insurance laws about what kind of policies can and can't be sold. There's ways to make those things uniform without getting the federal government involved. It's getting the states to talk to each other. And you can do that through things like the Republican Governors Association. And I think there's a Democratic Governors Association. I'm pretty sure there is one, but I've never even heard of it. It's not even talked about. So there could be one. Who the fuck knows? Look it up. Don't care. Yeah, that's all I got to say. Put these issues together because people are not going to understand how these problems fit together and how our government works unless our government departments are more efficient. And that's why we have to streamline. It's like they'll do all the streamlining they wanted in like 1947 when they want to have the military spy on us and be able to roll tanks on all our streets real quickly. But they'll just make that shit a whole lot complicated more again when the Patriot Act happened. And Obamacare just made the healthcare system as complicated as possible. So there's ways to reverse this damage. And I've explained some of those solutions earlier in the video. So thanks for watching.